Welcome back to this update. We're going to kind of wrap up the signaling for the layout. I'm going to show you a little bit of putting the showcase miniature searchlight together, some tips that I found, tools, magnifying glasses. This is only 2x, they work out quite well. Got a little sanding board here, clean the flashing off. Always your sharp X-Acto knife. I've got a pin vise here with this is a 32nd inch. I think it's 32 thousandths to clean out some of the holes. Works out quite well. Got a 6-inch 3/32 drill bit. Get down through the layout. And it fits quite well with the support for the signal. I've got one here put together. I'm still painting and wiring on it. Show you how I got the wire down through there, a little tip on that. Also, I picked up some 1/16 inch brass tubing, and the stanchion for the searchlight will fit down in there. I use that as an extension to get down through the foam and the plywood on the layout. So let's get going on this. Also at the end, I do have one correction for the last video that I put together on the Arduino. The circuit was I needed to add one little remark for the circuit, and if you didn't catch that video, it's up here. But I'll show you the correction I made in the schematic on that one. So let's get the searchlight put together. Here are the items that come in the showcase miniatures signaling light. You get your 1/32 rod. This is for your hood, your ladder, pieces, the back piece for your head, and you get some mounting pieces on here to mount your ladder with. The base. The one thing that I found out that I don't believe is explained in the other video is that in this head part you have to drill a 1/32 hole through there. So that takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, so you need to get that. And I thought, 32nd, that's kind of small. You can't go any bigger, so follow along with that. Nice instructions, explains it very well, so follow those, and I'll start assembling this. If I run into any problems, I'll let you know the more difficult parts that I run into. I wanted to show you the difference in LEDs. This is a 603, a surface-mounted tricolor, and this one you do have to put your magnetic wire on the back, which is not difficult, but can be done. And that will work. It'd probably be a little bit better for HO, but when you mount that, actually the backing looks kind of big, but that would become your kind of the back for the signaling. Over here is your 606 that is supplied by Showcase Miniature. Wires are already attached. You can see the rod that I have here in my hand is a 1/16 inch rod, so you can see the size of that LED is very, very small. Wires are already connected for you. Here I have my 16th inch brass rod that I'm going to make extensions with. I've marked that out to the length I need, and by using your X-Acto knife, just taking that and rolling that back and forth, and it'll take you 15 or 20 times to go back and forth there. That will make a very nice cut for you to go down through. Then once you get that done, make sure that you take your 32nd inch, your 32 thousandths drill bit, and you can clean that hole out to take the ridge out of there, the flare, and then your searchlight will fit back down through there, and that will be the extension that we use to get down through the layout. Here is the LED that Showcase Miniature supplies for their searchlight. You've got four very fine magnetic wires here attached that come down. One of them's has a red tint to it, and that is the supply voltage for your LEDs. They're about 14 inches long. When you get down here to the end, they're undone, and trying to feed these down through the center of the tube it becomes very difficult. I spend anywhere from a half hour to an hour trying to get these things in there. I have found that I have some very thin CA glue. Make sure it's thin, and right here where they start to become twisted, I apply just a small amount, and then I take the diagonal cutters and cut that off, and it becomes much easier to slide that right down the tube. And then, okay, here I've applied the very thin CA glue, and I've cut that off with my side cutters. And now to get that down the hole, the center, there we have it inserted. So we can go ahead and push that on down through, get it mounted on your layout. The wires underneath the workbench. Then we can nip off about 1 more inch of wire and separate the wiring. Hook the red tinted wire up to positive, and by grounding out one of the other ones, ensure that you have a resistor in there. But then you can go ahead and determine which is the red, the yellow, or green. This is really a good time saver. The last tip or two I've got is before you actually assemble the LED into the back of the body here, take a little bit of flat black paint and paint inside, just so you don't have to do that later and get paint on the LED. Once that LED is inserted, I use a little bit of canopy glue, put it in there to hold it in place, let that dry, and then I apply another coat or two over the top of that, and then flat black paint, and then come back with silver, just enough to block out any light from the LED that might escape out the back. They do supply a mounting plate. I just found that I could not quite get that to work for me, so I decided to go with this method here. Here you can see the searchlight completed, getting ready to install on the layout. We've added the extensions on here to get through the scenery area. And how do we get this down through our layout? I've got one area that is actually about 6 inches of foam and plywood. So I'll show you a little tip here. I've taken the wire and I've actually used a piece of my 1/32 tubing, and I've pushed that into there and threaded it down fairly far. And this is a lot easier to get into on this hole here. So let's go over the layout and get this installed. Okay, here's the hole that we previously drilled, and I've got my tube, and I actually start with that and feed it down through there, and that's going to go right on through and get this. I need another hand. Now I can take this and I'll just kind of pull that right on down and ease it into there. Here's this tube. My wire is actually out the bottom, and I just have to feed this tube down through there. And there our signal is dropped in, and I've got about a ½ inch sticking out the bottom. Just real quick, I wanted to update the schematic that I showed you for the Nano. We need to add a pull-up resistor from the 5 volts over to pin 9 there, the digital pin 6 on the Arduino. So that will keep the voltage high until the train comes in the DB20 then will take that to a very low voltage and trigger the nano to start the signaling system. Okay, it's going to bring a close to the signaling project. So hopefully I've helped you out and given you a few tips. Another quick one though, when you have that magnetic wire from the LEDs, it's very fine. One of the hardest things I found to do was to actually clean the insulation off when I get ready to hook it up to the small resistor board. If you hold that up, put that on your underside of your workbench and take some 320 grit sandpaper and hold it down tight with your fingers, and about the last ½ inch just take that sandpaper and rub over it half a dozen times. That'll clear off enough of the insulation so you can solder those easily onto the resistor board. Glues, I used canopy glue, I used some gel, and also that very thin CA glue if you're going to use that on the magnetic wire from your LED. So have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you back here again real soon. Thank you for watching.